I decided to make my own sunscreen from scratch because my child keeps getting burnt in the sun whenever we go to the pool and she's too cool for that shiz, yo. I start by mixing false information and pseudoscience into a bowl, bringing it to a low boil, and voila, a sunscreen will magically appear. Don't ask me how that happens, I don't make the rules. And of course, I always use organic and natural ingredients because if you can't eat it, it shouldn't be on your face. Okay, I'm sorry, y'all. Nara Smith, the queen of DIY, Queen IY, recently posted a video and it made me... Let me show you.
We've been spending a lot of time outside by the pool, and I realized that we ran out of sunscreen. Moving on to adding some beeswax, shea butter, and also some cocoa butter, letting it come to a boil and placing the glass bowl on top of that. About an hour later, it was all solid and ready to apply. This went on so smooth and didn't leave a white cast.
Now, Nara Smith can make some incredible recipes. She's amazing, let's be honest. But DIY skincare, that's a whole different ballgame. But not gonna lie, seeing the end of the video made me go, that actually doesn't look too bad. So I'm gonna recreate Nara Smith's DIY sunscreen recipe and see if it actually works. Cause what better way to see if this is complete BS than doing it myself? Call me the skincare queen IY. Let's go recreate this at-home DIY sunscreen. I don't know about this, but let's give it a try. I'm on my way to Whole Foods right now, and I figured Whole Foods would be best because they probably have like the most natural, organic type of ingredients that would be perfect for this formula. Like, I don't think Target's gonna have raw jojoba oil, you know? Lucky for me, there's Whole Foods not far away from where I live, and I'm gonna go and see if I'm able to find all of the ingredients that I'm looking for. I don't think I will, but it's worth a shot, so let's see. The only ingredient I'm worried about not finding in the store is zinc oxide powder, because I don't think I've ever seen that ingredient in a store, let alone where I live in Hawaii. I mean, we don't have much here. Okay, now I gotta find beeswax, and I don't even know where that would be. Maybe I should ask someone. I don't know where it is. Okay, I managed to successfully find the raw cocoa butter, virgin coconut oil, shea butter, jojoba oil, and a little jar to put everything afterwards to solidify in the fridge. And I got all of this for an amazing deal of $80. I could have bought 4 sunscreens or 8 Korean sunscreens for that price. So this is already worth it. But I unfortunately was not able to find 2 of the primary ingredients, one being beeswax and the other one being the zinc oxide powder. And I already know Hawaii, if they don't have those here, there's zilch on island. So I'm gonna go onto Amazon and see if I can find both. Okay, zinc oxide powder. Ooh, wow, this is a lot more expensive than I thought it would be. $27. Ooh, okay, $10. That's more like it. Non-nano and uncoated, great. Oh, and it's gonna arrive in 3 days. That's actually really good for Hawaii. Normally things take forever to get here, but add to cart. Now let's look for beeswax. Ooh, okay, Murray's 100% pure beeswax. This one looks good because it's cheap. I don't wanna spend $20 on beeswax. I'm already spending over $100 on this product. $6 and it arrives in 2 days. Add to cart. Okay, looks like I got all of the ingredients. It is now Thursday, so I'm not gonna get everything until Sunday. Whoa, someone's sitting down right next to me and was staring at me. Pretend like I'm doing something else. Okay, he left. So I'm gonna see all of you in a few days where we can finally cook up this batch of sunscreen. Okay, I'll see you soon.
1 week later.
1 week later, here we are. And I got the package! You just gotta love Hawaii where 2-day shipping actually takes 7 days. I love it. Let's open it and see if these will actually be the right products. Don't let me down, Amazon. Okay, so first, this is enough zinc powder to protect every person's skin in Hawaii. I think I only have to use like a teaspoon, maybe? Uh-oh, look here. FDA disclaimer. This product is not evaluated by the FDA and is not intended to diagnose, prevent, treat, or cure any disease. Well, that's comforting since this is supposed to prevent skin cancer. And, ooh, yeah. Here we go. Murray's 100% pure Australian beeswax. Look at this shit. It smells like beeswax. Oh, it says it's great for dreadlocks and other styling needs. I didn't even know you could use 100% beeswax on your hair. Interesting. Ooh, she's thick. Let me try it on my gray hairs because they need some loving. Wow. Definitely feels like wax. You know what? I'd actually like to try beeswax on my hair and see if it actually like styles it. Okay, now that we got the products, let's head up to the kitchen and make this DIY sunscreen, shall we? Let's go. Oh, okay, this is much more comfortable. I figure with the paint splatter marks on it, if I spill, then the stain will just fit right in. Wishful thinking. Welcome to my kitchen. This is the first and definitely the last time you're gonna see me in here. And this will be the first time I've cooked since 1990. I don't cook, I don't clean. Let me tell you, I got this free. Unless you want a mean mac and cheese, I don't cook anything, okay? This kitchen is very underutilized. So welcome to the first viewing of me actually using my kitchen. Anyway, let's get on with it. We got the Whole Foods products. Over $100 worth of stuff in here, folks. So we have our coconut oil, our raw cocoa butter. You know, I always like it raw, baby. Jojoba oil. What is this? Oh, shea butter, 100% beeswax, zinc oxide powder, and of course, a jar. Subscribe to my OnlyFans to see what I do with this.
We are suppressed emotions!
Now, I'm not gonna totally bash Nara for making me spend this much money on these ingredients because I think the normal person would already have a good amount of these in their cupboard, especially if you're a trad wife, but clearly I'm not. And I don't see myself getting a lot of use out of these in the future, but anything for science. Okay, so let me watch her video again because I really don't know how to go about this. I'm just gonna follow exactly what she did and hope that I have all the materials. I didn't think about cooking supplies. Shit, I hope I have them. Okay, so first glass bowl. Glass bowl, people. Please, don't prove our glass bowl.
We've been spending a lot of time outside by the pool, and I realized that we ran out of sunscreen, but asked Lucky to make me some. We all burn pretty easily, so we went with something with a little bit more SPF. He started by adding some coconut into his bowl.
Okay, so it looks like he was using about a half cup measurement. I do have a third a cup, and of course, this for making cocktails. So worst case scenario, I'm just gonna use this 1 ounce measure. What are these called? I think a jigger? Yeah, jigger. If all else fails, I'll just use this. It looked like he was using, honestly, it looks like a third a cup. Yeah, I'm guessing it's about a third a cup. So he goes in with coconut oil first. Wow, this is very liquidy, and I feel like the one that he was using was definitely not liquidy at all. Oh, shoot. You guys, this is like pure liquid. You know what? It all ends up being liquid anyway. It'll be the same. That's how chemistry works, right? Not much hope to begin with. To be honest, one thing I really got to understand when I was working with chemists to formulate my own skincare products, which if you haven't checked out my products, Selfless by Hiram, they're in store at Target. Ingredient consistency really does matter. In chemist labs for cosmetic products, they will have mixing machines that will mix an ingredient or a composition for a dedicated amount of time, and they track it down to the second to get the perfect consistency so that it will respond well with other ingredients and actually make the formulation work. It really makes a huge impact and can really make or break the actual end formula, which is why it's so important that scientists or chemists are making these formulas in lab so that the formula is perfect every single time they make it. Okay, I got my coconut oil. Okay, this bowl was not clean. Damn it! Yeah, this bowl is not clean. I'm gonna rinse this out. Pro cooking tip for anyone out there, this is very advanced. Make sure you wash your dishes before you start cooking. Voila. Okay, let's try this again. I feel like when it comes to my channel, this really doesn't have to be said, but newsflash, making your own sunscreen at home is at best, not good idea, and at worst, an absolutely horrific idea. And I think my attempt to make my own is gonna fully illustrate that. But yeah, sunscreens are very advanced formulas that require a high level of expertise to pull off. Do not try this at home.
Don't try this.
Okay, what's next?
He's a baker, so he makes sure that everything is very precise before moving on to adding some beeswax, shea butter, and also some cocoa butter. Once all of that was combined in the bowl, he added some jojoba oil as well.
So he uses what looks to be like a tablespoon. Do I have a tablespoon? Victory! I have a tablespoon, perfect. So, shoot, what did he use? I have the short-term memory of Dory, my God. Shea butter, cocoa butter, and beeswax, there we go. Okay, so this is the Alafia Pure Unrefined Shea Butter. I made sure to get pure because I know that's exactly what Nara would have used. Or sorry, her husband, I don't know his name, I apologize. Ooh, this stuff is thick. I'm gonna bend my tablespoon. Okay, it looks like he flattens it. I feel like that looks pretty good. Okay, cocoa butter's next. Oh, very fancy. Okay, so I'm not here to totally shit on trad wives and making your own food and products from scratch. You know, like I've always been impressed by Nara Smith and her ability to make these amazing meals from scratch, right? I think it's extremely impressive, especially as a mom, to be able to do that. Like, props to her. It's amazing, you know? But there's a huge difference. Holy, oh my God, do you guys see how thick this is? I don't know how I'm gonna be able to scoop this up. This is, you know, I was feeling violent today, so it works out. There's a very big difference between making your own food products at home versus making your own cosmetic products, right? Cosmetic products are very, very tricky to make, and it takes a lot of knowledge, expertise, formal education, accreditation to be able to pull off like high quality skincare formulas that are gonna be able to deliver skincare benefits into your skin. Normal skincare doesn't really have a lot of rules and regulation behind it. There are like safety tests and different things that labs will do to ensure that the formulas actually work and are safe, but sunscreens need FDA approval because they are supposed to help with protecting yourself from skin cancer. Now, sunscreens are very, very finicky formulas. The slight amount, okay, this ain't working. A tiny percentage of too much oil or a tiny bit too much of the SPF powder, any ingredient that even has just 0.0001% too much can take a sunscreen rating from SPF 50 to SPF 0. It really is very tricky to figure out. Okay, now onto beeswax. Lord, please let this beeswax be not as thick as the last two butters I tried to carve into. In the name of Beyonce, Zendaya, and Megan Thee Stallion. Okay, let's test. Oh. Isn't that just beautiful? My prayers were answered. Oh my gosh, I feel like I just did one of those slime videos. Look at how perfect that scoop was. So when you consider all the math, science, expertise that goes into creating even just your normal everyday drugstore sunscreen, do you really think you'll be able to do that in the kitchen? Nay, nay, I tell you, nay, nay. It is extremely complicated to the point that even a lot of scientists have to go through 10, 20 plus rounds of edits to a formula before they can actually get it to measure up to an SPF 30 rating, an SPF 50 rating. And I know what you might be thinking, Hiram, isn't even just a little bit of sunscreen protection better than nothing? How are you gonna find out what the SPF count is in your kitchen? You can't. There we go, beeswax. Wow, look at that. It looks like the aftermath of my last hangover. Okay, jojoba oil next. I guess he uses about 3 tablespoons. Okay, you know, I gotta take a cleaning break. Okay, you know what? Props to people who can do cooking videos because they make it look like it's such a natural, easy process of just like switching the frames, but this is not easy. It makes whatever you're cooking take like 3 times as long. Okay, what's next?
He then filled a pot with some water before placing it on the stove, letting it come to a boil and placing the glass bowl on top of that. He continuously stirred until everything was melted and combined.
I do know I have pot. And a pot. Just kidding, I don't smoke. Voila. Okay, let's get some water in this so I don't accidentally burn the house down. I think that should be enough. And set it to boil. Oh my gosh, that reminds me, one time in high school, I was babysitting some kids. And of course I wanted to be a good babysitter, so I decided to make some mac and cheese. I put the pot on the gas stove to start boiling. I left it for like 30 minutes and I was like, what is that weird smell? It's just such a strange smell that's coming from the stove. I look under the pot and there's no fire. It was just sitting there, not boiling. What I did not realize is that for the past 30 minutes, it had been pouring gas into the air and there was no spark to light it. So when I went to turn it off, it hit the spark and flame erupted about 6 feet out, caught my eyebrows, and I had to evacuate the kids out of the house because I thought there was gonna be a house fire. And better yet, once the mom came home, she was like, oh yeah, that happens all the time. Ma'am, I almost killed your children. Anyway, lesson learned. As you can see, the flame is on, so I'm gonna let this boil. Hey, there we go. Okay, it is starting to, you know, melt a little bit. I wonder how long this is gonna take. I'm gonna be honest, you guys, at no point during making this sunscreen have I thought, wow, this is so much better than spending $10 on a sunscreen. But I do have a newfound respect for Nara Smith because this cooking is not easy. God, I can never be a trad wife. Okay, it's starting to melt. Here we go. I'm still bracing for the possibility that this glass might shatter. That's happened to me before. You know what, maybe I'm not a good cook. Okay, it's boiling. The boiling water started nutting at me. Oh no, I don't have oven mitts. I'm so scared. Okay, it's fully melted. Please don't burn me, please don't burn me. Wow, that thing is smoking. The condensation. I gotta admit though, it smells lovely in here. I feel like I'm out in nature, it smells divine. From the looks of it, it seems like they use about like a tablespoon and a half worth of zinc powder. And you know what? I already know that this concoction is not gonna have an SPF 50 rating. So I don't mind adding some extra just for good measure. Ooh, look at that. Griselda is sweating. Okay, here we go. My goal is to not inhale any of this because if I'm not mistaken, inhaling zinc powder can actually be really damaging to your respiratory health. So let's see, I got about this much. I'm hoping that at least the heat kind of breaks up the clumps in it, but also I really don't know if the heat actually just deactivates the protective ability of zinc oxide powder. I really don't know. I will say though, it looks beautiful. It looks like a nice crumb. Who needs scientists? I'm kidding, I'm so kidding. Please don't do this at home. Okay, it seems like it's mixed in pretty well, so I guess I can move forward with pouring it into this handy-dandy little jar right here, ladies and folks. Let me try to successfully pour it in. I just don't want to burn my hands. Oh, you know what? There's more clumps at the bottom. You know what? I think that's as good as it's gonna get. We did it, folks! Look at that beautiful container of breast milk. Per the instructions, I'm gonna put this in the fridge for the next 24 hours. Now, did you think I was just gonna make this sunscreen? Nope! Instead of just making this and telling you guys why it's a bad idea, I'm gonna take my DIY sunscreen to the beach with me tomorrow in the hot Hawaii sun and test it on my skin alongside a legitimate lab-formulated sunscreen formula to see which one is gonna be better. So get your towels and sunglasses, we're headed to the beach. I made it to the beach and have a very sketchy tent setup. This thing looks like it's gonna blow over in any second. I don't trust it, I never will. But I got set up and it's a beautiful, clear, sunny day, the perfect conditions for testing out this sunscreen. So here's what we're gonna do. I brought my tested, tried and true beach sunscreen, the Numbuzine Water SPF 50. I use this one all the time when I go to the beach because it's super lightweight, I can reapply it very easily, and it protects me from the sun. I'm gonna apply this one on my left arm, and on my right arm, I'm gonna use the DIY shit, which I don't trust. I don't think this is gonna work. I'm fully prepared for my right arm to look tomato red and this one look fine. Oh my God. Yeah, this tent is gonna blow over. Now you might be wondering, Hiram, why don't you test this out on your face? Well, first off, I already applied sunscreen this morning, so that ain't gonna work. But also, I'm too nervous to do this risky of an experiment on my face. I just really don't want my face to get burnt today, all right? You can't blame me. You might also be wondering, Hiram, if you're gonna test out the sunscreen, why are you under a tent? Well, because I'm not a fucking psychopath, okay? Anytime I go to the beach in the middle of the day, I always have a covering over me because look at me. I'm pasty white and sickly, like a young, diseased Victorian child. I will burn way too easily in this type of sun, and I already know I'm gonna get a tan, if not a burn, from having this big condom set up over me. I'm probably gonna be so red that I have to take an Uber to the ICU. Let's apply these sunscreens. First up, Numbuzine. Oh, look at that, no white cast. Smooth like butter. Now for Nara Smith's one. Ooh, it's tough. Okay, here we go. Well, I'll give it one thing, it blends into the skin pretty nicely. Oh, I will say one thing though, you guys, this is greasy. It's like I'm smearing cooking oil on my skin. Oh my God, it's so greasy. Battle of the sunscreens, let's go. Cheers to a good roasting session. That was very gracious. Oh, I'm back. Beach babe coming through. I'm back from the beach. And let me tell you, I have thoughts on this so-called sunscreen. First off, let's talk about experience. Like I showed you guys, I compared the DIY sunscreen formula with one of my tried and true favorite sunscreens, the Numbuzine SPF Water Essence. Now granted, this is one of the best sunscreens I've ever used, but if I'm gonna be paying $100+ for ingredients, this better blow my mind, let me tell you. This formula was worse than I expected, but also better than I expected. Keeping it real, I fully anticipated this to be so white cast heavy. If you've ever used any zinc oxide SPF 50 formula, you are entitled to financial compensation. You know the struggle. They are thick, white, streaky, so unpleasant. In general, just not great. But this one pretty much immediately blended into the skin. No pastiness, no white cast, it looked great for about 5 seconds. And then mama, the grease. Oh, the grease. There was so much oil on my arm, I felt like I needed a baptism to get it off. Even trying to wipe off my hand after I applied it was a struggle. And if you've ever been to the beach, you know about this little thing called sand? Yeah, oily skin and sand, they don't mix well. If your skin is oily, greasy, or sticky, sand is gonna love that shit. They were making passionate love on my arm and I felt like the third wheel. It was not good. Sand was clinging to my arm and every time I tried to wipe off the sand, my hand would just get super greasy and oily and the problem continued. Versus the Numbuzine essence, which basically feels like water on the skin. Now I bet you guys are dying to wonder, how did the two arms compare? Did my right arm get burnt? What happened? Well, friends and family, I think I girl bossed a little bit too close to the sun. I did such a good job staying under my little tent that I think I didn't get enough sun because there was no color difference at all. I literally looked the same. I'm just anxious about getting sunburnt at the beach. Okay, I've experienced that too many times and I was just too nervous to spend any more time in the sun. And I know you guys are probably like, Hiram, what the fuck? Get out there in the sun and get burnt. No. Part of a healthy relationship with my followers is drawing boundaries, and I refuse to get sunburnt for a video. I can't do it, I'm sorry. So did the sunscreen get me sunburnt? No. But did I notice any sun being absorbed by my skin? No. Hey, I'm pasty white for a reason, you can't blame me. So that was a little bit of a disappointment, but also reassurance to me. But I want to talk about my thoughts on this sunscreen. You know how I said before that I was surprised that it wasn't pasty or white? While that was great when applying it, it raised a lot of red flags for me. See, the skincare industry has been around for a while. If chemists and scientists were able to find a way to make zinc oxide not super white and patchy in SPF 50 formulas, they would have done it by now. There's a reason why so many high protection zinc oxide formulas are so unpleasant to use. It's because of the amount of zinc powder that is necessary in order to ensure that you're getting the proper protection. So ladies and gentlemen, gays and theys, that only means one thing: this sunscreen does not protect your skin enough. And finally, I'd been keeping the sunscreen in the fridge. That's what Nara Smith said to do, so I figured if I kept it in my cooler at the beach, the formula would remain stable. But guess what happened in the hot sun? It started melting very, very quickly. And let me tell you why all of this is a really bad sign. If I were to be generous with my guess on how much protection this had, I would say SPF 5 at best. But here's why it probably doesn't even provide that much. If the formula starts to change when it gets exposed to heat, that means that the SPF protection goes right out the window. That's why it's so difficult to formulate sunscreens that actually provide protection. They're very finicky and very tricky to formulate. So seeing that this formula had to be in the fridge and then immediately started melting when exposed to heat, I got worried because that's a telltale sign that one, this formula is really not going to hold up in many environments, but two, whatever SPF protection it originally had, she's gone. She left the chat. And this is true for a lot of DIY skincare formulas, which is why I have always said that good skincare is not made at home. The reason that Nara Smith's video is so dangerous is because sunscreens are supposed to protect you from serious skin damage like skin cancer. That's why it's so regulated. So for her to show her followers this fun DIY sunscreen recipe is effectively communicating to them that if you make it the way that she did, your skin's going to be protected. And there's already a huge DIY community on TikTok that is probably eating this up, going out making this sunscreen, putting it on their skin, and expecting to be protected from serious concerns like skin cancer when that is not true, that is not accurate, and you're putting your followers at risk. Now, do I think Nara Smith was being malicious? No, I don't think so. Her entire life is DIY. I'm sure she thought that this would be a fun experiment, fun piece of content, and very in line with everything else that she creates, but the message still does harm. So when it comes to you and making Nara Smith sunscreen at home, don't do it. It ain't worth it. For the risks and also the price point. Holy shit, this is the most money I've ever spent on a sunscreen. There are so many incredible sunscreens out there that you can find for under $20 that do an amazing job, deliver an amazing experience, and most importantly, properly protect you. I mean, Korean sunscreens? Hello! There are incredible options out there. And if you want to learn about some of my favorites, I will have my videos linked down below highlighting the best sunscreens to use, because there are so many that I love. But yeah, when it comes to this sunscreen, hard pass. Please don't do this. But I want to hear your thoughts on this DIY sunscreen, and if you agree with me. Have you ever tried making your own sunscreen? Did I do it justice? And I'd love to continue making videos like this, so if you guys enjoyed it, please leave a comment down below. Feel free to drop some ideas because I'll be watching and responding. And if you guys haven't already, be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so that you can see my videos every single week, and I will see you in the next one. Mwah.